Chapter 2. The Night the Storm Broke Open. I felt it the moment I woke, before I even opened my eyes. The floorboards beneath my feet hummed faintly, a quiet vibration like the stretched breath before thunder. The tavern does this sometimes. It shivers, it sighs. It tilts itself like a creature dreaming uneasy dreams. Some say buildings are just wood and stone, but not this one. This tavern has a pulse. And that morning, it pulsed with worry. I pushed myself up from the thick woolen cot in my room behind the bar and let the silence settle. No wind outside, no rain. The world beyond the walls felt paused, held, as if even the air was waiting for someone to speak first. And then I heard it, the soft, rhythmic tapping near the door. Arinya. She sat cross-legged beside the threshold, her small hands pressed into the old carved wooden door. Her brow furrowed in worry. The storm she carried within was quiet that morning, but not gone. No, quiet like a storm preparing. "Morning," I rumbled softly. She glanced back. "Lion, the tavern feels strange today. Does it scare you?" She hesitated, then nodded. The Lion's Tavern does not frighten easily, and when it does, I pay attention. I walked over and sat beside her. "Tell me what you feel." She pressed her ear to the door as though listening for something beyond the wood. It's like it's calling someone. "Calling who?" I asked. Her eyes lifted to mine, pale blue but dimmed at the edges, like someone who hasn't rested in years. "Me," she whispered. "I think it's calling me." The tavern exhaled, boards settling, lanterns swaying slightly, almost in response. I stayed still. This was no ordinary shift. The tavern was choosing its next path, and choosing her. "Let's follow where it leads," I said gently. Arinya swallowed hard. She looked so small in the moment, knees tucked close, hair tangled from restless dreams. But storms don't measure their power in size, and neither did she. "Will it hurt?" she asked. "Maybe," I answered honestly. "Most truths do." She nodded, bracing herself, and with a great creaking sigh, the tavern door unlatched itself. The day had begun. When the tavern opens its door to a new place, it does not reveal a familiar path. It does not choose comfort. It chooses need. Outside, the world was shrouded in silver dusk, though I knew it had been morning when we last looked at the sky. Fog curled around trees. The earth beneath us glistened with the dew that felt too cold for dawn. "Where are we?" Arinya whispered. "Somewhere that needs you," I said. She looked uncertain. and for a moment I wanted to place a hand on her shoulder. But sometimes a person must step forward on their own. And so she did, tentatively, like the first breath after crying. We walked through the fog, the tavern's lantern glow following us. Yes, actually following us, tethered by an invisible thread. And then Arinya stiffened. Ahead was a clearing, and in the clearing, a girl no older than Arinya curled into herself, shaking violently as though the cold were under her skin instead of on it. Her hair was wild, matted with dew, her clothes tattered, her breathing sharp and ragged. But what caught Arinya first was not the girl. It was the orb of swirling, bright, electric cloud above her palms, a terrifying, pulsing miniature storm, the same storm Arinya once carried. She froze. "Lion," she whispered. "That's—" "Yes," I murmured. "Another like you." The storm above the girl crackled. Small arcs of lightning leapt from its edges, striking the ground in sharp flashes. She whispered, clutching her arms around herself. She was afraid, alone, and dangerous without meaning to be. Arinya's breath grew unsteady. I could feel her own storm roiling beneath her skin, responding, recognizing, remembering. Then the girl in the clearing lifted her head, and her eyes, wide, terrified, locked onto Arinya. "Help me," the girl gasped. Arinya's heart nearly broke from the sound. And I saw it, the moment it happened. Arinya stepped forward, not because she was brave, but because she knew the kind of pain that had no words. She knelt in front of the shaking girl. "My name is Arinya," she whispered, "and I used to carry a storm too." The girl's breath hitched. The storm pulsed violently. Arinya reached out a trembling hand. "It doesn't have to hurt you." I can't stop it," the girl sobbed. "I don't know how." "You don't have to stop it yet," Arinya said softly. "You just have to breathe with me." The wind howled in response, echoing, resisting, but Arinya held steady. "In," she whispered. "Out," she whispered. "In, out." The storm flickered. In, out. Arinya's voice steadied even as her hands shook. In, out. The girl mirrored her breaths, slowly, haltingly, desperately, and little by little the storm's edges softened. The lightning dimmed, the winds slowed. The girl collapsed forward into Arinya's arms, sobbing out the breath she had been holding for too many days. Arinya held her firmly, tears slipping silently down her own cheeks. I watched them, two storms meeting, and neither destroying the other. There are moments in my long life where the world shifts, not loudly, not quietly, like a thread being added to a tapestry. This was one. Arinya didn't see it, but I did. The tavern had brought her here because she was ready to give what she once needed. The journey back to the tavern was slow. The girl, who later told us her name was Sella, walked between us, one hand clutching Arinya's sleeve as though afraid the world might crumble if she let go. The fog parted for us, as though the tavern commanded it. When in the doorway, Sella hesitated. It won't hurt me, will it? No, I said gently. This place knows pain, and it knows how to soften it. We stepped inside. Warmth wrapped around us like a blanket. Lantern fire hummed softly. The old oak beams seemed to lean closer, curious about the new arrival. Arinya guided Sella to a cushioned seat beside the hearth. She fetched a blanket, wrapped it around her shoulders, and whispered something I couldn't quite catch. But whatever it was, Sella relaxed. I prepared a warm broth. The scent of herbs filled the air. You did well today, I murmured to Arinya, as she sat beside Sella. She shook her head. I just did what someone once did for me. That is what healing looks like, I said. Arinya looked into the fire. Her eyes softened, no longer pale and dimmed, but glowing with something new. Not peace, not yet, but the beginning of peace. Sella drifted into a deep sleep, curled beneath her blanket like a kitten in a ray of sun. Arinya leaned her head against the back of a chair, tired but lighter. And the tavern, usually restless after a shift, was still, steady, strong, as though proud. I sat behind the bar, and for the first time in a long while, the air felt bright, quiet in a good way, because something important had happened tonight. Arinya had not only faced her storm, she had helped someone else break theirs gently, so it could finally breathe. And in doing so, her own storm began to calm. The tavern flickered its lanterns, soft and warm, as if whispering its approval, and I whispered gently into the dim, "Rest now, Arinya. This was only the beginning."